Good evening, ladies and ladies and ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here tonight so that I may publicly pay tribute and express my gratitude to all the hair and makeup people with whom I've worked over the years. Much of my career has been spent playing high-maintenance ladies, so you all have been seriously in my face. You are the folks who greet us at dawn and know what we really look like. You maintain the look of our characters throughout a long shooting day and prop us up for our 4 a.m. close-ups, sometimes our 7 a.m. close-ups. Which brings me to the lady I honor tonight, Suzy Mazzarese Allison. We first worked together last year on a few episodes of Ugly Betty, and I can honestly say that Suzy's unfailing sense of humor and irrepressible laugh got me through all the scenes I had to shoot in the middle of the night. She's done my hair this season on The Good Wife, and the highest compliment I can pay her is to say that I never feel compelled to look in the mirror before I face the camera. I have absolute faith in her skill and judgment and sense of style. Furthermore, Suzy is always in a good mood and never fails to laugh at my jokes, no matter how lame they are. If I sit in the chair and I feel like talking, we can chat up a storm. But Suzy always knows when I need to pull inward and focus. I don't know what it is about hair, but if it isn't right, it can turn even the sanest actor into a raving neurotic. I always feel totally safe in Suzy's hands, so let's take a look at her work.
I would always hang out in the salon with my mom to get her hair done, and I always was pretty good at curling my own hair and doing that kind of stuff when I was young, and I decided to go to beauty school. So I worked in a salon for about a year, and I was dating a drummer for the show Beatlemania. And I'd go backstage and hang out. There was a gentleman in there that did the wigs for it. So I talked to him and kind of play with the wigs in there too. And then they asked me to do a tour, and I did a Canadian tour and did that for a year. I passed the union test, and then I went on to do My Beautiful Mind, was my first film, which was a pretty big one. I went through a time span of about 30 years. So that was, hard to make sure everything looked right, including the actors on top of the background.
But I really dig your look.
Collaboration means to me everybody working together, costume designer, director, hair, makeup, as a team. Everybody has a certain knowledge of what their craft is, and putting it together and making it all work. You need to collaborate with the director, with the wig maker, producers, and especially with the actor. Everybody has an opinion, and then of course you suggest what you want, what you think is right. And sometimes you win the fight, and sometimes you don't, The New World, we shot all daylight. So we actually had no lighting to do, so everybody had to be ready. And we had days where we had, anywhere from 300 to 500 background that we had to get ready, not only makeup, painting the Indians, and also us doing extension work in their hair. And the English dirtying them up coming on the ship, and so there was lots of stuff involved. The pace of television and film is quite different. Television, you don't have as much prep time. And the pace is just much faster.
Hey, Betty.
Betty. On Ugly Betty, we had so much fashion work to do too. Not only did we not do all the actors, there was 11 principals that had to be done in high fashion hair. And I had extensions or wigs on all of them, except for the men, of course.
I would love a career in fashion.
Sex and the City, I worked closely with Michael Patrick, who was the director. And I did everybody except for the 4 women. They had personals. And then there was a lot to do for the department head. It was, organizing all the days for all the big background fashion stuff, doing the other principal actors in the show. We had a good time on that too. We always try to have a good time. If I had to make a choice, I prefer doing film than television. It's not that I don't enjoy television, because I do, but I think the preparation time, more time off. You do a movie for 3 months and then you maybe have a couple months off. Whereas television, sometimes you're like 7 months through. So it's very tiring. On Be Kind, Rewind, it's a very interesting story there. You have the production meeting with the director, and Michelle says he wants everybody to look natural, like they never went through hair and makeup. I don't want to see any hair and makeup. And so we get to the first day of shooting, and the first thing they ask me is if I have 13 Afro wigs, because we decided that in one scene that's what he wanted. So Of course, I have a huge stock, and I had to produce 13 Afro wigs. And this went on throughout the film, because the film basically, they were making their own movies out of a junkyard. And I think I ended up using 60 of my own hair pieces on that film. So it went from nothing to that. So things could change once you start shooting immensely on certain projects.
Amateurs.
Not a big one for, schmoozing or, doing all that, even though you have to do that too. But my main priority is to make sure everything looks good and make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and that everybody's happy. The work is very important to me.
Bump up the jam, bump it up while your feet are stumping. And the jam is pumping. Look at here, the crowd is jumping. Bump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, 'cause that's where the party's at, and you found that it fits you that. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. Make my day. Make my day. Yeah, bump up the jam, bump it up while your feet are stumping. And the jam is pumping. Look at here, the crowd is jumping. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. 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 Make my day.
Suzy, come and collect your award for your extraordinary career.
Okay. Adjust the mic a little lower, a little short. Thank you so much. You couldn't work with a better actress than this. So what a pleasure. So nice. I want to thank Women in Film and all. I was going to read my speech, but I don't think I'm going to now. Thanks to everybody in the industry, and especially to all the women in this business. We've come a long way. All my peers that I've worked with, all the makeup and hair people I've worked with before. Honored for you to be here. My husband's great. Thank you very much. I'm very nervous.